Welcome back to the channel. So in this one we're finally going to get some bits and pieces done on the Subaru. So if you've been watching this channel for a while, you'll know that I'm pretty useless at actually completing projects, and this is probably one of the first projects that I started back in lockdown. So it was originally a body shell that I got on a job lot. All the front end had been cut off, side skirts were cut off, and it was not in a very good state. So of course I decided to turn it into a bit of a drift missile, I suppose. First off, a few versions of the front bumper. Now we got the 3D printed one. So these are all bits and pieces I've had or made for quite a while. So we've got the 3D printed roll cage modelled to fit inside there. We've got the driver's cockpit, which I've actually had for a couple of years and it's just sat in the drawer. But I finally decided I was going to cut it up and start getting it fitted. Now you may have seen at the end of the other video I was actually playing about with this outside, trying to drift it, but I ended up destroying the front drive shaft as it was still four-wheel drive. So I decided I'm going to get rid of the prop shaft, get rid of the front drive shafts, should give me a bit more angle on the front, and we'll see how that goes. There's a few other bits and pieces we've got for it. So I've got a metal geared servo that is supposedly high speed. So we'll see how that turns out. My guess, not very well. We've also got cheapest gyro I could find. So we're also going to see how that turns out. Same again, my guess, not very well, but let's try. Now I have actually test fitted the gyro and whatnot, and I've needed an extension, one of the servo wires, because it ain't quite long enough. Now the wheels that were on this were just some cheap universal wheels, but the spokes were actually really thin and they ended up breaking on 2 or 3 spokes on a couple of the wheels. So I've reprinted the same wheels that I put on the S15, these ones here. So when test fitting the cockpit and the roll cage, it wouldn't actually fit because the brace on there, well, got in the way, especially if I'm going to be putting the gyro and everything else on there. So I got rid of that. Now that actually left me with another problem. So due to the steering arms being on shafts, there was nothing to actually hold the steering arms down on there. So I've had to model and print a little brace on there, keep them together, keep the arms pressed down. And as you can see, we've got some of my 3D printed solid tyres. Same tread pattern as the R888, not the R888R. Pretty much gets us up to date. One of the first things we're going to do is get this painted up. I've still got to do the holes for the gear stick, steering wheel and the helmet. So along with the open visor helmet, it actually comes with the closed visor as well. So if I end up making a dog's dinner with the open visor, we got this as a backup. So first step, we're going to get the helmets put together, get the holes for the steering wheel, helmet, the gear stick done, and then we can move on to masking and painting. So that's the driver all masked up. Use some Tamiya masking tape around the edges, and then just some normal masking tape around the rest of it. I scuffed it up, just going to give it a coat of matte black. That was the interior with a coat of matte black. I've just got to take the masking off and see how bad it is. That's the masking off. So we've had a bit of a bleed through there. Some of the edges aren't as crisp as I like, but never mind. I'll sort that out when I paint the rest of it. I've also put the helmets together. Tried to get rid of the join line as best I can. Give them a coat of plastic primer as well. So for the helmets, we're going to go with the metallic red. So I better get these masked up and sprayed. So that's the helmets done with a coat of metallic red. And some gloss clear lacquer on there as well. Now take the masking off the face. Do the rest of the detailing on them. And also detail the rest of the interior. A few edges to tidy up, but never mind. So to paint the interior, we're going to be using a mix of some acrylic paint pens and some brush on Tamiya paints as well. And so there we have the interior done. Is it perfect? Nope. But overall, pretty happy with it. Even got a centre line for the steering wheel as he's going in a drift car. And as you can see, we've gone for the closed visor because, as predicted, I made a hash up of the open visor. Going alright, so I tried to give him eyebrows. Never mind. Now we're going to get the Metal Gear servo. Remember, it's high speed apparently. We'll see. And cheapest gyro I could find. Let's see how that works out, shall we? Right, so first of all, the chassis, as I say, a few bits and pieces done off camera. I've had to remove the top brace, got rid of the prop shaft, also removed the front diff. So now it's just rear wheel drive. Free spooling on the front. The longer arms on there for more angle. Solid tyres, Toyo Ultra plates, and also the wheels. So these were the original wheels that were on it before. Ignore the colour, I was trying to find out what colour would work with it. As you can see, these are broke, so I made some of my own. And this is why we needed the extension. I could cut and solder the wires, but yeah, do it this way, it's easier. So that should allow me to mount it at the rear of the chassis, and the wire will be long enough to reach the receiver. So as we're going to be swapping the servo out, let's get a bit of a before and after, see whether the new servo is actually any quicker. So that's a new servo fitted, see if it's any quicker. Hard to tell, maybe it's a little bit quicker. Never mind, it's what we're going in it anyway. Right, so to mount a gyro, realistically, I should probably print a mounting plate for it or something along them lines. But what's a good bodge without a cable tie? That's what we're going to do. No idea which way around I should put it, but it's just going to get cable tied there like that. So there's a gyro fitted. No idea whether I've got it set up right. We'll soon find out. So now that's all the modifications done to the chassis that I want to do. Just get the interior on it, get the body on it, and see what the final thing looks like. So I just went to fit the body, and remember there's a couple of little bits I wanted to tidy up on it. So the rear arches were falling off. So they've been stuck back on, and also the trims around the window had started to come off as well. So I've done them in the same way I did with the Volvo. Extra wide electrical tape. Stick it along the side, then run a blade along the edges, peel it off, and there you go, window trims. there we go. As you can see, I had to resort to running it around the kitchen. Typical British fashion. It can be sunny for weeks. As soon as you get a day off when you plan something, it rains. So how did it perform as a drift car? Well, considering that's one of the first times I've tried rear-wheel drive drifting, not very well. That could be down to a few things though. Now bear in mind I'm using my own 3D printed drift tyres. This chassis hasn't really got that much angle on the steering due to the actual base of the chassis getting in the way. I use the cheapest gyro I could find, and I'm also not very good at drifting. But if you've been watching the channel, you'll know most of mine end up sitting on the shelf anyway. But the main thing with this Subaru is it was a destroyed shell. I brought it back into something half respectable, I suppose. So there we have it. I'm going to call this one finished. Is it perfect? Nah, bod's not built. So with that, don't forget, like, comment, share, subscribe and all that. And I'll see you in the next one.